Hare Krishna, Dhira Govinda.
Hey, Saraswati, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thanks for being here and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. We purify our hearts and perfect our life through hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanam, Vidantastoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Saritsatam. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we're studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, entitled Further Inquiries by Vidura. We're in text 41. It's May 4th, 2025. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya naram chaivanottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should first offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayeshu Vajreshu Nicham Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We're studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, text 41. Here with me in the ashram home here, there's Bhaktin Haley, Bhaktin Rosa, and here online there's Sylvan Paramatma Anandini Ladini and Bhuvanesh Anasuya Damayanti, and Sarasvati, with perhaps also George and Danielle are there too. Okay, and here comes Rukmini. Okay, so Sarve Veda Cha Yagya Cha Tapa Danani Cha Anaga Jiva Abhaya Pradhanasya Na Kurviran Kalam Api Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha Tapodanani Chanaga Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya Na Kurviran Kalamapi Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha Tapodanani Chanaga Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya Na Kurviran Kalamapi Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha Tapodanani Chanaga Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya Na Kurviran Kalamapi
Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha
Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha
Tapodanani Chanaga
Tapodanani Chanaga
Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya
Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya
Na Kurviran Kalam Api
Na Kurviran Kalamapi. Someone online like to recite the verse.
Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha
Sarve Vedascha Yagyascha
Tapodana Nichanaka
Apodana Nichanaga
Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya
Devabaya Pradhanasya
Na Kurviran Kalamapi.
Nakurviran Kalamapi
Sarve Vedascha Yagyascha
Sarve Vedascha Yagyascha
Apodana Nichanaka
Tapodana Nichanaga
Jivapaya Pradhanasya
Devabaya Pradhanasya
Na Kurviran Kalamapi.
Nakurviran Kalamapi
Sarve Vedascha Yagyascha
Sarve Vedascha Yagyascha
Tapodana Nichanaga
Tapodana Nichanaga
Jivabaya Pradhanasya
Devabaya Pradhanasya
Nakuviram Kalamapi.
Nakurviran Kalamapi Sarve,
Sarve,
all kinds of
all kinds of
Veda,
Veda,
divisions of the Vedas,
divisions of the Vedas,
Cha,
Cha,
also
also
Yagya,
Yagya,
sacrifices,
sacrifices,
Cha,
Cha,
also
also
Tapa,
Tapa,
penances,
penances,
Danani,
Dhanani,
charities,
charities,
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Anaga,
Anaga,
O spotless one,
O spotless one,
Jiva,
Jiva,
the living entity,
the living entity,
Abhaya,
Abhaya,
immunity from material pangs,
immunity from material pangs,
Pradhanasya,
Pradhanasya,
of one who gives such assurance,
of one who gives such assurance,
Na,
not
not, Korviran,
Korviran,
can be equalized,
can be equalized,
Kalam,
Kalam,
even partially,
even partially,
Api,
Api,
certainly.
certain.
Translation. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The highest perfectional work of charity is to give people in general immunity from the anxieties of material existence. This can be done only by performing activities in devotional service to the Lord. Such knowledge is incomparable. Cultivation of the knowledge in the Vedas, performance of sacrifice, and distribution of munificent charities altogether cannot form even a part of the immunity from the pangs of material existence that is gained from devotional service. The charity of Maitreya not only will help Vidura, but due to its universal nature, will deliver all others in all times. Thus, Maitreya is immortal. Om Ganatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayamupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutam Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagna Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitams Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Garange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa to Yubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 41. It's May 4th, 2025. Sarve Vedas Cha Yagyas Cha Tapudanani Chanaga Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya Nakurviran Kalamapi. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc. So Vidura is expressing to Maitreya, that okay, so like so that what Maitreya is giving, this is the greatest gift, this is the greatest charity. I'm reminded when after hardships and crossing the Atlantic, and then on the upper side of Manhattan, and then on the Bowery, and then in 1965, 66, and Prabhupada had some supporters, and they established the first center at a storefront on Second Avenue on the Lower East Side in Manhattan, and in the storefront, on the window it was painted. It said "Matchless Gifts." So of course the followers, the supporters of Srila Prabhupada, they weren't necessarily committed followers at the time, but they because they were just renovating the whole thing to make it into a Vaishnav temple. So they imagined, well, I guess we'll scrub that off. Where I said, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Matchless gifts. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is giving. That's what we get to give, an unparalleled gift. And so that's what Vidura is appreciating. He's asked these questions. Now Maitreya will respond. The term, well, yeah, both multiple times in the translation and the purport, the term charity is described. So it's very human. It's a very human thing to want to give charity, right? As soon as we even still in childhood, teenage years, and, oh yeah, I want to give charity to help you, especially as we get to adulthood. Oh yes, I have money I can use. Let me give it, and like even it's a natural propensity. It's a natural propensity, and so for all these propensities, like with understanding the science of bhakti, the science of the modes of nature, we don't need to live an accidental life. So just in Bhagavad Gita, there's about 20 categories of life that are described with reference to the three modes and the transcendental consciousness. So from the food we eat to the work we do, to where we place our faith, because we're all going to work. We're all going to place our faith somewhere. Someone said, I'm not a man of faith. I'm a man of reason. Nonsense. So, because our actions always reveal our faith. So I don't have faith in anything. I just get up and I go to my job, and I, work 50 hours a week, and I come home, and and then so it means you must have some faith that by doing this job that you say you're miserable in, it'll somehow give you happiness. Otherwise you wouldn't give you, if not happiness, relief from misery. I turn the key in the ignition, and that doesn't happen. So there's other things. But anyhow, let's say that there's a key in the ignition, and then it means I have faith there's not a bomb here. Okay. So it's our nature to place our faith, and we can place it in tamas, rajas, sattva, or shuddha sattva, which is transcendence. And the science is given, how we seek happiness, how we seek knowledge. Yes, the science of communication. There's ways we can communicate or listen, or not communicate or not listen. That's in tamas. Rajas, anudvegam kramvakyam satyam priyahinam chayat swadaya vyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapu uchyate. Krishna says that sattvic communication. Sattvic communication, the term that Krishna uses is the austerity of speech. The austerity of speech. Our speech is truthful, meaning we're connecting with courage, that I'm not going to withhold the truth just because, well, I'm afraid what people will think or like that. And of course, there's a distinction between choosing to be silent from purpose and inspiration and intelligent discretion. That's different than, well, I want to speak, but I'm too scared because people won't approve of me, and I want to belong to the club, and I like that. So that's tamas. So truthful and beneficial. So not just like, here's the truth in your face, see if you can handle it. I'm so honest. Okay, let's see. Now that's not sattvic either. Right? So sattvic speech is truthful, and we're truly giving our sincere, heartfelt effort to communicate the truth. It might be disagreeable, but I'm not being arrogant or obnoxious, to do in a way where I'm committed that you'll get my care, even if what I'm saying is not comfortable or pleasant. I'm not being unpleasant. So that's an austerity, right? As the saying goes, if we're only ready to do what's easy, life will be hard. If we're ready to do what's hard, life will be easy. So it can be relatively easy to I just won't say anything, go along to get along. It's pretty easy. Then life's hard, because then I'm not in my integrity, and I know it and I feel it. Then I have to drink this or smoke that or spend money or scroll the internet just to numb the pain of being so out of integrity. Yeah. And it can also be pretty easy to hear, I'll blurt out, here's what I think in your face, but it's more coming from like, now in the name of honesty, I'm taking out my unhealed wounds on you. And like that. Okay. So that can be pretty easy. But in a story of speech, yeah, to be courageous and considerate and caring and powerful at the same time. So there's just one. So every area of life is analyzed that way. And if we act in the sattvic or Suda sattvic mode, then we'll experience the actual fulfillment of the soul. We're actually fulfilled, and that's the distinction. Okay, that so and that's why Vidura is so much appreciating. Yes, he's so much appreciating Maitreya. He's saying what you're giving, this is the matchless gift. So similar, he's talking about charity. So charity is analyzed. It's for spiritual beings having a human experience, it's very natural to want to give charity. It's very natural to serve. It's very natural to seek happiness, to seek protection, and to seek to relate and to communicate and to act. And that's a reason why attempts at so-called spiritual life, where the ultimate goal is to annihilate the personality, then there's no activity, no speech, no dancing, because that's all material, and it's not going to be satisfying. It's our nature. It's our nature to relate and enjoy and seek happiness. And so that will just lead to frustration in the name of spiritual life. Negation of the material is not in itself spiritual. Okay. So this relates. All right. So there's charity like in the mode of ignorance. Let's say I give something to this guy or whatever, and then I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good. I gave charity. I'm a good person. When let's say he uses it to get some crack cocaine and he deals it at the high school to the teenagers. Okay, so it's just ignorant. But the important thing is I'm feeling good about myself because I gave charity. But no, it's like, what's the result? What's the direction? Yeah. So it's all analyzed. There's charity, and maybe charity in rajas. Maybe I give to an educational institution. Maybe I give to a hospital. Okay. And okay, so it's okay. Maybe it's helping people. It's helping. But maybe a big part of my motivation is if I give more than this amount, they put up a plaque with my name. They put up a plaque. If you're not going to put up the plaque, I'm not giving the donation. Okay, good advertisement for my businesses. Okay, so it's just like it's not completely pure. Okay, like that. So in looking at the mode in terms of this natural activity of charity, there's two things. What's the object, and what's the condition of the heart of the giver? Both are important. Okay, so then like charity and goodness, where I'm truly giving it from compassion, not for my own name and fame. I'm giving it from compassion. I'm giving it in a direction that's actually intelligent. It's actually going to do good. It's not just going to lead to dealing crack cocaine to the teenagers and like that. So they're both considered. Okay, there's some complexity and consideration, but those are the principles. And Vidora, he's really appreciating my tray because he said, like, what you're giving, this is beyond goodness. This is beyond goodness. This is the matchless gift. This is charity. This knowledge. This is charity that will actually liberate spirit souls from suffering altogether, from suffering altogether, from being from being trapped through our material desires in the cycle of samsara. At 5 a.m. we sing samsara davanala lida loka trenaya karunya ganaganatvam praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. That material existence is compared to like a forest fire. And just like even with modern technology, if there's forest fires, there's nothing we can bring with our buckets, we can bring our hoses, but until a rain cloud comes with rain. So the spiritual master, the pure devotee, spiritual master is compared to the rain cloud who extinguishes the blazing, like in our heart, it's like a blazing fire of material existence. That's the analogy. That's the analogy there. And so lacking positive spiritual fulfillment that comes from realizing who we are as not the body and a spirit soul, and engaging in the soul's natural highest dharmic activity in devotional service to Krishna, God. That gives the positive happiness. That gives the positive happiness. And so the spiritual master is extinguishing the blazing fire. And it's kind of like there's so many intense analogies like that, material existence. Just like, imagine we're caught in a forest fire. It's a hellish, it's nightmare. It's yes, this is horrific. It's terrifying. Fire. There's that. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe. Prahlad Maharaj. He describes material existence like having fallen into a pit of snakes. Okay, so just imagine fall into a pit of snakes. And Hari Hari Bipule Janama Gunainu Janama Manushya Janama Pai Radhakrishna Bhaje Janayam Sunya Bishakainu. The Vaishnav poet says that having not given my life to serve Radha Krishna, I'm like knowingly drinking poison. Knowingly. Okay. So intense analogies to help move us to actually experience the misery of material existence, not to wallow in it, but to let that move us towards like, let me get on a true path of liberation. We've used the analogy of the GPS, the GPS, right? So like if we're off track, then it'll give some beeping or something. Like, yeah, we're off track. So that's like, oh, I feel shame. I feel alienated. Yeah, you know, Yeah, I'm feeling all this grungy, toxic stuff, jealousy, envy, depression. What's that? Means like, yeah, we're off track from achieving that most sublime purpose of the human form of life. That we get to liberate ourselves from the samsara, from the blazing fire material existence. It was about 9 days ago. Nichigo Paul Prabhu gave a very moving class about samsara and that whole song, Samsara Dava Nalalita Loka. And it's so yeah, so this transcendental knowledge, not just knowledge like data or information, like who won the Super Bowl, or how many windows does the Empire State Building have, or like that. But this is diksha, divya gyan. Divya, you can see the word divine, gyan, from the Greek gnosis, the English knowledge. Knowledge that is transformation. Knowledge that is transformation, and like realized knowledge, vigyan. Realized knowledge, just like someone can say, oh yeah, I know. Oh no, I know. I know smoking cigarettes is not good for me. I know that. Okay. I mean, I still smoke 2 packs a day, but I know it's not good for me. So based on results, you don't know it. Based on results, you don't know it. Okay. So realized knowledge means that I'm transforming my life. And so this realized knowledge about bhakti, about who is God, what's our relationship with God, what's the purpose of life, what's it mean that I'm a spirit soul, I'm not the body. So Vidura is saying this is the highest charity. This is the highest charity because it gives the nectar for which we're hankering. Cheto darpanam marjanam bhava mahadavagni mir bapanam. It extinguishes the blazing fire of material existence. It's okay to use some Sanfito transformative communication terms. Okay, right? So like there's survival strategies. Okay, so we have to like looking good and avoiding pain, pushing down the beach ball. Okay, like that. Okay, appearance of control. So basically, material charity, even if it's in material goodness, it's basically it can help with it can come to a higher level of survival strategy. But spiritual charity, that's actually living and thriving. Okay, yeah, that's living and thriving. That's a distinction. The positive bliss of the soul. The positive bliss of the soul. Prabhupada gives an example sometimes that in olden times, maybe still in some countries, like if there's a criminal, to punish the criminal, they would tie him to a chair and put the chair under water. It's very horrific and torture. Okay, but then before he would die, they lift up the chair. Again, it's another horrific analogy to understand what's happening in material existence. They lift and they, okay, then back down, then back up. Okay, all right. So when the chair is lifted back up, this is happiness. This is happiness. Wow. No, that's not happiness. That's called relief from misery. Okay, so that's material charity, even if it's good charity. Oh, someone was hungry. Now they have food. Now that's happiness. That's material happiness. It's not the positive, rich happiness of the soul, alive in self-realization and bhakti, devotional service. Okay, so yeah, so that's material. Like, oh, I was really suffering, but now I see my neighbor suffering more than me. I guess I'm doing good. Okay, or really miserable. My health is better now. So that's Srila Prabhupada also gives the example, the metaphor. Let's say, let's say there's a child lost in the city. Okay, let's say there's a child lost in the city. And so we say, oh, child, oh, come here. Here's a loaf of bread. Yeah, nice. It's good. No, it's good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's good. Someone else, child. Oh, it's so hot, or it's raining. Come into my shop. You can stay here for an hour and we're air conditioned here, or you get some relief from the cold. That's nice. It is good. Oh, child, you don't have shoes to wear. You don't have a proper coat. You give coat. That's good. It's nice. But then let's call it much more substantial or completely substantial. Let's say we know, like, this child has a wealthy father. This child has a wealthy father who this child has a wealthy father. So yeah, okay. I mean, it's nice to give the bread and the shoes and all that, but I'm going to return this child to the wealthy father. And then the child's returned to the wealthy father, and then the child's got, like, bread for the next 50 years, and the child's got fancy clothes, and the child's got a beautiful house to stay in, protection from the cold and heat. So Krishna is not lacking any abundance. So we can not to neglect charity and welfare on the other platforms, and at the same time to realize the highest welfare work we can do. Let's cultivate in ourselves and supporting others, facilitating ourselves and others to return to our wealthy father. Yeah. And again, not to neglect other forms. I remember this was we were doing some corporate business coaching, myself and Marie Glasheen back. It was somehow there was a mid-sized oral healthcare products company with international scope, and their international headquarters happened to be in the Progress Park here in Alachua, Florida. If you're going to do an international project, where else would you locate other than Alachua, Florida? Obviously, I mean, some might say Paris, London, Tokyo. No, it's Alachua. So, and they had branches in Switzerland, in England, in India, and they were, like, a major player in that industry. And somehow they came to us, and we did a lot of we did some seminars, and I conducted a lot of individual coaching with the CEO, the CEO, and very nice gentleman, very like fine. I wonder how he's doing now. He's like the sort of person I would like to hang out with. Very very cultured, refined, and he had an Atato Brahma Jigyasa consciousness. Like he was a deep thinker, and he was a very successful corporate manager. And then at some point in the coaching, like he would say, like he's good at what he does, and he made a nice salary and all that. But it was kind of like, we asked the $10 billion question. 20 years ago it was the $1 billion question, but the economy has changed. So yes, if you had $1 billion in the bank, would you be being CEO of this corporation? No. Like, he appreciated his colleagues and all, but no, this isn't what I would do if like it weren't for the money. And then, what would you do? What would you do with your life? It wasn't about what would you do with your money, but like, what would you do with your time? Like, if money wasn't a consideration. And his response, Yeah, if you want to come on the cushion, if that's his response from it was like, it was kind of like standard. It was classic. He said, well, like I probably, create foundations to feed hungry children. It was like, that's like a thing. Oh yeah, that would be really a good thing to do with my life. I mean, this corporation is nice and all, but you feed hungry children in Africa or India or that sort of thing. And so I was thinking, because okay, yeah, sometimes there's accusations or misconception. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada, he he said that wherever there's one of his centers, no one should go hungry within 10 miles of any of his centers. So I'm just saying, so like, it's not that in focusing on transcendental charity, let's do a spiritual bypass and neglect being kind and generous and compassionate on this platform. No, it includes it. I mean, it's some or practically everyone here. Yeah, no, we've had a lot of connection over the decades with the Akshaya Patra organization in 2016. Akshaya Patra, and actually the translation of the Sanskrit is unlimited plates of food, unlimited plate of food. It comes from the Draupadi and Durvasa Muni pastime. And so their headquarters is Bangalore, but they have distribution centers all over India and even in the United States now, actually, and Europe. And yeah, so they started about 25 years ago, and they 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 serve they serve uh, uh, school lunch. They serve school lunch to school children in India. It's a school lunch program, and uh, and because they started with like maybe a few hundred plates per day. Now they're up to like 2.5 million plates per day, like that. They recently got honored at the United Nations. They served their 4 billionth plate to school children, and the statistics are, this was in 2016, the Bangalore projects invited me to conduct 3 Safeto Foundational seminars for the projects. And for all 3 seminars, we had 1 staff, and that was Patrick, also known as Paramparadas. One of the seminars had 90 participants and was me and 1 staff. He handled everything expertly, as you might imagine. And one of the seminars had about 40 participants, and it was all the top managers of Akshaya Patra, the top supervisors. And so, from what I heard is in India, 2,000 children per day die from starvation, malnutrition. And if it were not for the service of Akshaya Patra, it would be 5,000 children per day dying in India. So because they do what they do, 3,000 children per day not just don't die, but they get fed and they get an education. Because the way it would work is if a family doesn't have funding even for food, the 6-year-old or 12-year-old is going to go make money somehow, not get an education. So I'm just using it as an example. So of course, in these children, they don't just get food, they get prasadam. So it's spiritual and taking care of needs on so many platforms. So I know myself, and many of you know different aspects of my biography and history. At 17 years old, I started in engineering and went to college, and like, okay, if I'm trying to analyze David Wolf at that time, yeah, there was nothing in me like, how can I help people? I valued like I valued, like, I want to be a good person. I want to be a nice person. But it was just like, oh, I can go to India, I can make money, and okay, like that. Like, I want to be a good person. I value the idea of service, like that. And then as I raised awareness and took some transformational experiences, then I switched my major from engineering to psychology, which for me represented a shift from focusing on that which is more external to that which is more subtle, mind and intellect. Just like the computer analogy, we're not the hardware, the software. That's like the mind and intellect. Simultaneously, at about that time, early 80s, I'm beginning to read the books of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and taking a lot of prasad. Many of you know my story. Consumed more than 1,000 plates of prasadam before agreeing reluctantly to chant one round of japa. And, and so that's my personal history. And you don't all need to be so slow and resistant as I was, but my biography is my biography. And so yeah, and then so I got realized, my heart got purified through prasadam. Also was hearing some kirtan, a few talks by Stambhadas Prabhu, and reading the books of Prabhupada. I remember Science of Self-Realization, Beyond Birth and Death, summer of 1983, read Bhagavad Gita cover to cover, and like that, and backpacking around Europe, like that. And so I said, well, if I really want to help people, if I really want to be an honest person, this is the most satisfying, convincing way to do it. And it required me to give up conceptions, and I'm still giving up material conceptions from earlier in this life and surely previous lifetimes. But this is actually the best way to help people. This is the gift that truly keeps giving. This Krishna consciousness in the form of this transcendental knowledge, in the form of, well, three basic forms. One, prasadam, which is spiritual food. It's truly spiritual food, prasadam. The transcendental philosophy, and the holy name, and the holy names in the forms of like kirtan and japa. And then through that, then that's truly strengthening the one that gives value to the string of zeros. Otherwise, yeah, we can give a loaf of bread. We can, you need new shoes. And that's nice. It's like we're not, we want to take care of that platform too. This is like, okay, look, you've got a wealthy father. I'm going to return you to your wealthy father. So that's the best way I can help people. That's the best way I can help people. And then it's described just like, Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Klon, Staven, Gatir, Anyata. All the time chanting the names of God, the names of Krishna, the names of Allah, the names of Yud-Hey, Vav-Hey. That's the name in the Old Testament that actually no one knows how to pronounce, like that. Some say it's actually Yadavaya, which is a name for Krishna. And if we look at the Hebrew, it could be Yadavaya. Okay. And these are different conjectures, but the idea is to chant the names of God, chant the names of the divine, and then that really that's like returning to the wealthy father. That takes care. You got plenty of loaves of bread there, and you got plenty of new shoes and protection from the wind, the rain, the cold, and the scorching heat. And so like it takes care of the essential problems. Janma Mitru Jaravyadi Dukadoshan Darshanam. That's just good. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, a truly wise person realizes that the core problems are birth, death, old age, disease. Within the parameters, within the container of those essential problems, birth, death, old age, disease. Okay, then there's sometimes there are the fourfold miseries. Then there's the threefold miseries from the mind, the body, from other living entities, from natural disturbances, Okay, so that's in, so then so when and then so much, yeah, so much of material existence is trying to numb the pain and the fear and the terror of facing the essential problems of, I don't want to die. I don't want to grow old. I don't want to age. And that's natural because the spirit soul doesn't grow old. The spirit soul is ever youthful. But I'm in this body and I'm identifying as this body that's going to die. So let me numb myself by intoxication or whatever our numbing habits are. We can all make our lists, I'm sure. So it's described Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalana, Staven, Staven, Stavigati, Anyata. This is the essential practice to connect us to that path from the liberation of samsara, the liberation of birth, death, old age, disease. Harinam, the name of Hari, and more specific, all names of the divine are purifying. Namo Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Binat Bam Namanamino. That Purna Shuddha, all the names of God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are complete, pure, Shuddha, and eternal. And so we connect with our eternal nature. Just like a fish, take a fish out of water, it's not going to be happy, no matter how many loaves of bread or nice houses or prestigious positions you give it. Our water is eternity. So we connect with the names of God. And this particular mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is especially recommended to to cleanse the diamond and return us to our original Safatov term again, original on-contract consciousness, steadily, unwaveringly. Our verse, Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 41. Sarve Vedascha Yagyascha Tapodanani Chanaga Jiva Bhaya Pradhanasya Na Kurviran Kalamapi. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charity, sacrifices, penances, etc. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for giving your hearing faculty to Srimad Bhagavatam. I welcome any comments or questions that anyone would like to share.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Nandini.
Well, I was reflecting on how you shared, like you never had a thought to help others. And I was just reflecting how I grew up with a completely different paradigm that we have to help others. There was a sign in my parents' kitchen which said, I wanted to go out and change the world, but I couldn't find a babysitter. So I was every day, many times. And so that's how I grew up. Like, we should go out and change the world.
Yeah.
And it's such a conditioning. Like, in my mind, I can still go there to think, oh, but actually really helping the world would be go and feed hungry children.
Mm-hmm.
And to just be to trust or just be peaceful with, like, well, yesterday we had a kirtan, we had guests, to know this is like changing the world. Maybe I don't see the change right away, but it's coming into the consciousness of those who come, and possibly around the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The contribution. And when you shared about Akshaya Patra, and how many children are fed every day, that's, for me, that's the perfect combination. So there's, and there was someone here yesterday, a guest. She came, I think first contact with her, she came to a seminar, to a foundational seminar, and then she read Bhagavad Gita, and she shared. I hadn't seen her for a while, and she shared that she, in the meantime, got trained as a child carer, and she was sharing with me how listening. We got into a conversation about listening and how empathy is such a powerful method to help someone. Okay, so I'm not sharing Krishna consciousness or diamond philosophy or anything, yet just by giving a child my full presence,
Yes.
endeavoring to see the diamond inside, that's a great gift we can give to the child, even if we don't immediately get like a feedback that, oh yeah, there's a change, yet it has an impression child. And at some point maybe in their life they will remember, oh yeah, there was that was a moment where I felt really seen and heard and understood.
Thank you, Anandini.
And something else, that you were giving all these examples, analogies of the material world, the forest pit of snakes, and I remember that for the first years, I think, I was getting to know Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. I didn't want to hear about how miserable it is here. I want to hear about it. and I was reflecting on, someone asked me recently, why did Krishna create ignorance?
Okay, yeah.
I was reflecting on that without ignorance, we might not survive here. If I had full knowledge right now, I probably wouldn't manage.
Matasmitir ginam apoanamcha. From Krishna comes remembrance, forgetfulness, ignorance, and knowledge. So we're desperately begging for ignorance. So Krishna says, "Okay, I'll keep you in ignorance." We're desperately begging for it. Let's say, okay, analogy. I could let's say the sun's up, and I turn my back on the sun. So there will be shadow. I turn my back on the shadow. So I'm going to say, why does the sun create shadow? Why does the sun create shadow? Actually, there's no shadow in the sun. The sun's just shining. There's no shadow in the sun. I'm choosing to turn my back, and then I'm absorbed in shadow. And so thanks for your sharing all parts of it, Anandini. All change starts in the world of ideas. All change starts with consciousness. There's no meaningful change. All change starts. Everything is created twice. First in the mind, and then externally. I'll build this building. So everything is created twice, and then we actually build the building. And so right, so we can do this or that. we can try to help this way or that way. At the same time, if the consciousness of the adults, the children, is ignorant, self-deception, greed, illusion, lust, anger, jealousy, then we'll continue to create misery for us and others. And here's the thing, Bhayam Dvitiya Biniveshatasya. To the extent that we're in the bodily conception of life, to the extent that we're misidentifying the eternal spirit soul with the temporary body, we will be in insecure, and we'll be in anxiety, no matter how much is in the bank or who we have as a partner or what our career is, to the extent that we're misidentifying the eternal spirit self with the temporary body. Again, it doesn't mean to neglect the material body. Take care of it. It's a vehicle. We want to take care of our vehicles. Then we will be in anxiety. So So everything starts with consciousness, and that's why I am in agreement with you through Krishna Kirtan, through Kirtan. Then we're changing the consciousness through vibration, and in hearing your expression about the different horrific descriptions, metaphors of material existence. I'm remembering another analogy that was very alive in our experience a few months ago in Landrindod, Wales, the prison analogy. So we can take the prison analogy. Okay, so let's say it's like, oh, I want to help this prisoner. I know how to way to get him. I know I can get him 2 extra cigarettes per day. Okay, yeah. Whew. Okay, maybe I can get him an extra 15 minutes per week on the exercise yard. Okay. All right, but like the real way to help the prisoners is like give him knowledge. Here's how you get out of the prison. Not through some criminal escape where you'll end up in prison for an extra 40 years, but you be a good prisoner, then you get released, and then you can live your real happy life by helping people. And yeah, I just returning back personally. Yeah, of course, as I know, my parents were very fine people. My father went into education. He was actually a school teacher for 40 years, and he taught juvenile delinquents. He actually taught male youth who were imprisoned, and he would teach them. So like very patient, compassionate person. So I had that example. And my mother's side was more like the business side, and they would give a lot of charity with successful business. Thank you, Anandini. Ladini Shakti and Bhuvanesh. Let's see who asks the question or shares their realization.
Hare Krishna. Bhuvanesh is sleeping, and I hope he will not wake up by me sleeping. Oh, he already opened eyes. So, anyhow, maybe he will let me finish. Thank you for the class, Dhira Govinda Prabhu. And I want to reflect on Anandini's sharing about like you didn't want to hear about how miserable this place is. Oh God, for me the opposite. Like when like since as early childhood as I can remember, I had a big realization that this is a miserable place, and I was like at 4-year-old, I was my first suicide attempt because I have very materialistic conception of life. So if you die, it's like sleeping. That's pretty good. So anyhow, and then when I started to practice Krishna consciousness, it really fed all this, like this is like a miserable place. It fed to my already belief system around this material world. And then few years ago, I decided I want to be in ignorance about how miserable this place is, because I think it's healthier for me. Like it didn't necessarily help me to become more serious about Krishna consciousness. And then other than that, it's like, I don't know, I'm more trying to cultivate that, like Krishna is my protector and my maintainer, and that like this world is like safe from the point of view of the kitten in the jar of the cat. And then I can be here, Jame Jame Prabhu say, Sarsha Prabhupada breath after breath without feeling like desperate, miserable, terrifying anxiety. And I am, not like wanting to think like, oh, I'm in a blazing fire and it can like, it's a nightmare, it will catch me any moment. Like, I understand that it's like true, but I am cultivating not to allow myself to go there. So, I don't know how much tamas it is or how much sattvic choice or whatever, but that's what I have been doing with that.
Thank you, Ladini Prabhu. Thank you, Conscious Ignorance, says Anandini and Paramatma. Thanks for sharing, Ladini. Yeah, well, I just see it's like we endeavor to be personalist. So we all have our personal path and trajectory and coming to self-realization and Krishna consciousness. I'm reminded of the saying, people move due to desperation or inspiration, and at different times in life, it's different combinations. And so I was just, wow, these samosas are great. I just loved the prasadam. I really loved the prasadam. And then we might, wow, Krishna is so kind, and Krishna is so loving, and Krishna is my best friend. Inspiration, and the kirtan, this is ecstatic inspiration. And also for most of us at different times, some healthy dose of desperation, like I am suffering, and I'm putting on the happy, I got it together, but like I'm miserable, So Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, at some point, text 7 of chapter 2, Kripanya dosha patasvabhava, Vichami tvam dharma samuda cheta yatrayasyan nischita bhuisanmes. Shishasteham sadimam tvam prapanam. He says to Krishna, he says, okay, I admit, now I'm feeling lost and confused about my duty. I've lost my composure in this condition, in this desperate condition, even though people think I'm this, great warrior. Now I'm confused. I'm feeling lost, confused about it. Now I surrender. Now I'm your disciple and soul surrendered to you. Please guide me. Now I'm your disciple. So yeah. So it's like desperation or inspiration. And that's why we engage in the process, and we get the actual positive happiness of the soul through Krishna consciousness. And that the process also includes discussions like this, reading the purports, reading about the pit of snakes, and I need to admit, I've got a lot of misery and desperation and just the illusion of happiness. So thanks for your personal process sharing there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sylvan.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Peter. I don't understand, or maybe I didn't actually understand the words, Anandini, when you say, if I had, or you said something like, if I had full realization, I couldn't live here. If I didn't have ignorance, I need to have ignorance to live here. I cannot relate to this. It doesn't make any sense. So I'd like some clarification as to what you mean. Okay, and I'll explain why. Because I would imagine that if I have clear vision, then I know where contentment lies, and I can just be anywhere, and I'll experience contentment. So yeah, I'd like clarification, either from either of you, really. Thank you.
Thank you for this question. It makes me think more. Yeah, like I was just looking at ignorance as a veil to not see the misery. And yet what you're saying makes sense to me. Like if ignorance and also passion, and if that's all gone, and even sattva, I have the full picture. I have the full picture that everyone is a spirit soul and serving God, and it's all, yeah, I guess then I would be happy.
So was it not seeing what knowledge might give you fully, or not being faithful that knowledge could actually support you in living in the prison house?
Yeah, maybe not bringing that into the picture, into the full picture.
Thank you. I appreciate the discussion. Yeah, so I see that like through attachment to ignorance, I get to continue the illusion that I'll be happy, satisfied, peaceful through material life, through material life. And um and uh that so ignorance to keep me numb about how much misery I'm causing myself by my material activities, And then, yeah, related to what I'm understanding, you're kind of questioning or sharing, Sylvan. If ignorance is bliss. Okay. I met someone once, and that was his spiritual name, Avidyanand. I actually met him on Sankirtan in Israel, 1985, and he had let's call it one of those bogus gurus, one of like that, and he said his guru gave him the name Avidyanand, and he had all sorts of avidya activities. Okay, so let's say if I'm in my material life and like consuming, and it's true, yeah, Avidyanand. I'm consuming dead flesh and causing animals agony.
Like Avidyanan Das?
No, he was just straight Avidyanand. He was the bliss of ignorance. It's true. I'm not making this up. I could say more about Avidyanand. That's true. And so his bogus guru gave him that name, which is an appropriate name, actually. Okay, so let's say if I'm involved in material activities. We've quoted Saint Augustine, who said, we're not punished for sin. We're punished by sin. Right? So if I act in ways that are alienating to myself, oh, you'll be punished for it. No, then I feel shame, I feel alienated. We're punished by sin. So if I'm acting in those ways that are alienating to the self, then okay, I can only keep doing it if I'm in ignorance. Because if I'm enlightened how much misery I'm causing for myself and others, I'm going to stop. And then, as you indicate, Sylvan, if I'm completely enlightened, I might choose to stay in this world and serve Krishna in this world. Okay, then I'm being like Jesus-like or Prabhupada-like. Then I'm not in material existence anymore. Then I'm like an ambassador of Goloka Vrindavan. I'm an ambassador of the Vaikuntha realms. Then that's just like an embassy, right? If like France has an embassy in Washington, D.C., the actual building of the embassy, it's not United States territory, right? No, it belongs to France. Okay. So someone who's fully enlightened, they might choose to stay here, but they're not forced to stay here from samsara. So the idea is like, yeah, if I was fully enlightened and full knowledge, then I couldn't continue my nonsense material activities that are causing so much pain and misery for myself and others. And so, but I want to continue them because I'm addicted to them. So Krishna keeps me in ignorance, even though I'm causing pain to Krishna himself. Hare Krishna.
So is that, thank you, David. Now I can understand what Anandini was saying, if that is what Anandini was saying. Can you relate to what David was saying?
Yes, I can, because I see that sometimes I have a lot of understanding why people go to drugs or any numbing things, because I find it quite painful, because I guess that I still have ignorance. That's why it's painful, I guess. And yet, like, yeah, like to just numb, it would be easier. It would be a lot easier to just take some drugs or go to some numbing strategies. And yet, I know that will just increase the misery, will just increase the ignorance. And thanks to, yeah, I know. Well, it's making sense to me.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's also like it's not just that I want to do some like activity that's causing pain to myself and others, but also even if I'm, let's say, doing only good,
Yeah.
and then like being in this material world where I can like suffer tremendously any second, like being tortured physically or mentally, or like really be an actual blazing forest fire. Like it can happen any single moment. So I think even like this numbing, it's not just like to help me to keep doing my activities that I wouldn't do otherwise, but to just like kind of live here with some sanity. Like if I was like fully alive to anything, any miserable condition that can happen any single moment, like I would have to go to drugs.
Thanks very much for that, Ladini. Okay, I'm reminded of a metaphor that you're sharing reminds me of a metaphor. Let's say we get the car of our dreams. Okay. Personally, I never had a car of my dreams. It was never my thing. I had other sorts of dreams, but cars were never my thing. Anyhow, let's say we get a car of, I don't know, it's a Lamborghini or whatever it is. You get the car of your dreams. And here's the key, here's the title, you own it, it's all paid off, the insurance is paid, here's the car of your dreams. Just one thing, in the car, there's a bomb. There's a bomb, and it's going to go off. It's going to go off at some time, I don't know, maybe in an hour, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 12 years. In the car, there's a bomb that's going to go off at some time, but just go for a joyride. You just enjoy, go for it. Have a great time. So we're smiling because the point of analogy, that's something easy to understand, to help us understand something that's more difficult. So the only way we can actually have a good time is if we somehow forget that there is a bomb that could go off in 5 seconds. And maybe it won't be for 5 years, but you don't know. So it's not, that's the situation. We're in a body that's going to explode. Yeah, but not for 70 years. You don't know. It might explode today. But just have a good time. The only way to do that is to be in ignorance. And if we want to triple the ignorance and make it thicker, take some drugs, smoke this, smoke that. Okay. So yeah, so the only way we can have a so-called good time in the car is to be, because if we're really enlightened, like, am I a fool? I'm driving a car that I know there's a bomb here. Let me get out of this place. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ladine.
I have one last thing to that, if I may. It's like sometimes Dhira Govinda Prabhu says that there are the two happy people,
Yeah.
two states of happiness, and one is the full enlightenment and one is the full ignorance.
Yep.
So my understanding of Anandini's sharing was like, okay, I will speak for myself. I have closer to full ignorance than to full enlightenment. So if I want to be happy, the path closer is to full ignorance. Hare Krishna.
That's tremendous logic, Ladini. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Now, Dhira Govinda does say like that. There's two happy persons: the fool, or the pig in mud, or the Paramahamsa, the fully enlightened person. At the same time, let's give credit to where credit is due. Actually, the exact verse where that is said, it's earlier in this 7th chapter. It's in this chapter. I think it's Vidura, it might be Maitreya, and they say there are two happy people. So Dhira Govinda is stealing that from Srimad Bhagavatam. Kind of hate to admit it because I was getting credit and like, oh, you're so smart. But anyhow, it actually comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, from this chapter. Bhaktin Rosa.
Sylvan, there's part of your question that remains with me. You said something like, why why is there ignorance? Because if I could see everything, then I would know how to place myself and then I could be contented. And what it reminds me of is the verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna asks Krishna to reveal himself. And before Krishna could reveal himself, first he had to give Arjuna the eyes for which that could see
Get
him.
eyes of knowledge, get jnana chakshush. Yes, yes.
And so after being given this, he was revealed, and it was too ghastly, right? With the teeth and the tongues and the eyes and all the things. And Arjuna pleaded and said, please, please go back. Right? I can't take it. And so even in given the ability to see rightly, it's too much. And so what that makes me think of is our talk a couple weeks ago. I think many of you were there about how Maya is actually grace. Like the prison is it's a mercy. That was it.
It's a mercy for rehabilitation. Yeah.
And in that same way, if Maya is ignorance, it is a mercy. Because otherwise it would be too much.
Thanks for your reference. Thanks for your reference to Bhagavad Gita and Arjuna and Krishna's. Thanks for that, Bhakti Rosa. Damayanti.
Anandini, did you want to reply to that topic? Because it was just a small point about something else that was mentioned.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone who shared, because I understand myself better. That's exactly where I feel like my eyes got open to the misery, yet not to the full transcendence. So I'm in this between. I'm not the pig in the stool, and I'm not the enlightened Paramahamsa. So sometimes maybe I will practice praying for ignorance, Ladini, and see what that's like.
Glad to hear of the self-awareness you're getting from this conversation. The Bubby price. Oh, thanks for that. Okay. Damayanti. Damayanti.
This is just Hare Krishna. Thank you all for the class and the discussion. This is just a small comment that I've been thinking about already. Yesterday I was thinking about this, and it's in reply to Anandini's mentioning of the gift of presence, that the gift we can give to children just by being present or giving them empathy. Of course, everyone, no matter what age, appreciates feeling seen, cared for, heard. And I was just thinking that it might not look like direct devotional service, but what it is it's like indirect devotional qualities. So just by becoming a devotee, we naturally we're cultivating compassion and presence and awareness and consciousness. So we're going to naturally emanate devotional qualities, the qualities of the soul, and that's just a way of being. So it's not necessarily like I'm going out and I'm performing an action, and because we do have to just go around the world and run into people and be in the world, not necessarily always with a specific service to everyone we encounter, but naturally we're going to want to, as devotees, as devotees, to interact with consciousness, to have a positive impact no matter where we go. So I was just thinking of how that's like an indirect devotional service, just by having the qualities of the soul like emanating. And that is, I don't know if it's direct devotional service or indirect, but that's what I was thinking, that devotees are going to naturally want to, offer empathy, compassion, and enter people's worlds, like be of service in any way we can, even if it's just a practical thing like kindness. That seems to me devotional. That's all.
Thank you, Damayanti. A few things. One, it's the Acharya principle. Prabhupada would often emphasize that example is stronger than precept. Or as the saying goes, I can't hear what you're saying because your actions speak so loudly. So being an Acharya means one who teaches by example. One who teaches by example. in regards to children, as some of you have heard. Albert Schweitzer said, there are three principles in parenting. One, example. Number two, example. And number three, example. So we teach by, and it's not possible for us to not set an example. We're always setting an example of some sort. And so, yeah, and I think I wouldn't even, I don't so much relate to it might be an artificial dichotomy, direct and indirect. I think I don't even relate there. And I remember 3 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, in our group facilitator training, we emphasized this whole thing about like roadblocks, empathy, and like I often say, I'm not intrinsically interested in just collecting communication tools, but I'm interested in a communication-based approach to self-realization and super soul connection. So creating a space free from roadblocks, that's synonymous with creating a space that supports and energizes super soul connection when there's not the static of sound vibration that gets in the way of self-exploration. It clears the space for super soul connection, which is an important form of God consciousness. Thank you, Damayanti.
Yeah, thank you, Dhira Govinda, for your enlightening class, and thank you everybody for your sharing. So I heard a lot about the power of consciousness, like if I'm in ignorance or if I'm an enlightened soul. And yes, I would like to bring in the perspective of the power of trust, the force of trust. That's something what I experienced. It's not only about me, about my capability of being aware or conscious. And yes, that's let's say it's like something I can use and connect me to Krishna just in trusting to him and knowing he will not create such life circumstances that will me break. Just his in his unconditional love. And even I'm not aware about the beauty or do not feel connected, but that helps me to not go deeper in ignorance and go like into habits, whatever, to numb myself. Just this power of trust and knowing, okay, I know Krishna is my protection, and I can trust in him. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Paramatma Prabhu. I'm so appreciating that you bring that into the conversation. That's really where self-realization and bhakti Krishna consciousness begins. So it's so foundational. There's Prabhupada often references Srila Rupa Goswami, who describes it's like a 9-step process. This bhakti yoga, it's a 9-step process culminating in prema and very esoteric, ecstatic love of God states of being. And the foundational step is trust. Sadhu. And like, so through trust, whatever I feel, I have that inspiration, I have that real, whatever. But like, for example, here we are on a Sunday morning or afternoon, and here we must have at least some trust, because there's many things we could be doing on a Sunday morning or afternoon, and we're discussing the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam and the personalities of the great devotees, Vidura and Maitreya and Srila Prabhupada. So that's where it's, and then from trust, then we associate with those who also have some trust, and then with that association, our hearts get cleansed. Then we develop some taste and steadiness. Thanks for bringing that into the conversation. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for your association and enthusiasm for self-realization and spiritual life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Hare Krishna.